Okay, so I've learned how to play fast using some phrases. I know how to practice playing a phrase fast. But how do I improvise playing double time, playing fast? And the best place to start with this is to take the licks that you know and play them double speed. Okay? So, for example, if you have a 2-5-1 lick, all the 2-5-1 licks in the 2-5-1 lick course that I have, most of them are made up of quavers, eighth notes. So if you play them twice the speed, they're going to become semiquavers, 16th notes. Okay. Now in a 2-5-1 situation, the 2-5 part of the lick, if you play it double speed, it's going to be half the length. So you then play the lick in the 5 bar, in the dominant bar. That way, the resolution point remains the same onto the 1 chord. Okay, so take the licks that you know, the phrases that you know, practice them double speed so that you can facilitate that, and then use them in your solos in this way. So I'm going to demonstrate that now using a backing track. I'll loop a 2-5-1 over 4 bars, a bar of 2, bar of 5, and 2 bars of 1. I'll play a lick in the normal quaver 8th note form, and then I'll play it double time in the 5 bar the next time round. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, here we go. 2, 3. Okay, so it kind of works, right? You've got to be able to play the licks twice the speed, so practice those if you don't. So for 2-5-1 licks, that works quite nicely. Double the speed, and then put them in that dominant bar. In jazz, there's plenty of tunes that have a 2-5 in 1 bar. So your 2-5-1 licks over 4 bars will obviously work, or 2 bars I should say, should work double time into those bars as well. That's a really good place to start. Using your licks to play twice the speed. Now, when it comes to improvising, not using licks, kind of spontaneous improvisation playing double speed, you're going to have to be able to play quickly on your saxophone or whatever instrument you play. You can't just expect to whiz all around it magically. So you've got to practice it. So how do you practice it? What's the best thing to do? Scales and patterns is the answer to that. So start major scales. Practice your major scales playing quickly. Okay? Now, a metronome here is your best friend. Or your worst enemy, maybe. But essentially, you're going to need this to be able to do this subdivision that we talked about in the last video. Subdivision is being able to divide a pulse in your head into multiple bits. So if you've got a pulse, being able to you know what I mean? Okay, so let's try with major scales. So set a tempo on your metronome. Here I'm going to start on a low C on the saxophone. I'm just going to play middle, a major scale, 1 octave and down, and then go up a half step up an octave, down, up a half step, and so on. And it's going to fit with this beat. So okay, so when you can do that, crank up the metronome. Let's crank it up a bit more actually. Okay, so you get the idea. Crank it up more. Okay, keep cranking it up. You can also do it sort of half speed. So da, 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 da. Okay, maybe even then half speed again. Okay, so set a tempo that you're happy with. Playing quavers is fine, just for ease. Da, 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 da. Then half the tempo. Da, 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 da. Then it's up to you to subdivide the beat. Okay, you could even halve it again. Okay, use the metronome for things like that. Now that was just a pretty simple major scale exercise. There are a gazillion other ones you can use. You can go up 2 octaves, you can put the longer note somewhere else. Metronome, play, an exercise that you like, get into the swing of it, then halve the metronome speed. Then halve it again. And it's up to you to divide that pulse. You got to stress on each 4. You know what I mean? So it's all about doing it in your head. Now the major scale exercise is a good one just because scalic lines are common in improvising. Using patterns is another good idea. You know, if you've got some pentatonic patterns that you want to use. Practice using those as well with a metronome. You know what I mean? So being able to play fast, you have to practice this subdivision. Practice with licks is a good kind of shortcut way to be able to put them into solos straight away. But to be able to improvise lines, scales, patterns in your solos, you've got to be able to do it on your instrument. Your fingers have got to be able to do it. Your brain's got to deal with it. Okay, you can't just wiggle your fingers and I'm playing quick, yeah. You got to every note counts. Okay, so practice, 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 practice. Metronome, metronome, metronome. Subdivision. Emphasis on first of every four. Practice. Have fun.